We're going to talk about Esther this morning. And the reason that I wanted to pick Esther, she was not on the list of my series, but I put her on the list because I wanted to bring about this very important message from her this morning to us. And it goes along with what we have been talking about in line with making our dash count. If we want to make our dash count, then I think sometimes what we don't understand is as we're doing so, if we haven't discovered our purpose or our passion in life, whenever we leave a mark or we make our dash count in some fashion, we're getting that much closer to what we are most passionate about and what our purpose truly is while we're on earth. So I wanted to look at the person of Esther this morning real quick before we move into our communion and offering time. Esther, she's coming down out of a stadium and she's going to walk a couple of laps with us around the track. Because if you look through the book of Hebrews in chapter 11, there is a chapter in there that is called the Hall of Faith. It's chapter 11. And these folks have ran their race. They have kept their faith. They have left their mark. They have made their dash count. And because they're done with their dash, then we need encouragement as we continue to make ours count. And the best people that can encourage us are the ones who have gone before us. Esther is one of those who have gone before us. She comes down out of the stands. She is gorgeous. She looks like royalty. You can tell that this is a mature woman who is coming out of the stands to meet us on the tracks. When she catches up to us, she simply says to us these words, "I must tell you something very important." And because of the way she's dressed, because she has presented herself as mature in our minds, we pay attention. She says to us, "God has a place for you." She reveals herself in her gentle voice, "I am Esther." If ever there was a moment with a strong sense of place and destiny, it is found in the person of Esther. She says, "For much of my life, I felt out of place. My parents died when I was very young, and I was adopted by my uncle Mordecai. There were times I felt out of place in his home. As I grew up in a strange country with different customs, again, I felt out of place. And being a simple girl, being brought into the king's court made me feel out of place as well." Esther lived during a time when the Hebrews had been taken from their homeland and exiled to Persia. She suffered many hardships in her life, but she also received a rare opportunity. When King Ahasuerus of Persia sought a new queen, all of the most beautiful young unmarried women in the land were brought together and prepared to be presented to him. That included Esther. Even though she was Jewish, a fact that she did not share with others. To her delight and that of Mordecai, she was chosen by Ahasuerus to be the queen. It looked as if Esther's life was destined for a happy storybook ending. But then an official named Haman in the king's court plotted to have all the Jews in the entire kingdom executed, simply because of a grudge that he held against Mordecai. When Mordecai discovered the plan, he sought Esther's help. To save their people, Mordecai wanted her to appeal to the king. Now let's stop for just a moment. I want to ask a simple question. Has there ever been a time when you felt that you did not belong? Is there ever a place or time that you have felt out of place because you didn't fit?
Mm-hmm.
We all have felt that way at some point in our lives, I'm sure. Sometimes we lack close relationships with others. Other times we question our ability to do a job that's required of us. We just simply feel out of place. Esther understands, and she helps us know that she understands. All her life she was out of place, having been dislocated from her family, from her culture, and her country. She is out of place. But then she also reminds us, no place is out of place when you're in God's place. That's worth writing down. No place is out of place when you're in God's place. God had his hand on Esther the whole time. Problem was, Esther didn't realize that God had his hand on her in such a time as this. But she soon will find out. It says in Esther chapter 4, verses 13 and 14, it says these words, "And Mordecai told them to answer Esther, 'Do not think in your heart that you will escape in the king's palace any more than all the other Jews. For if you remain completely silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. Yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this?'" That's a powerful statement that Mordecai makes. He knows that she is in the place that she is in for some reason, not just because she was beautiful, and out of all of the ladies who the king could have chosen to be the queen, he picked her. She was smoking hot, apparently. But she was a Jew, and she didn't let anybody know that. The person that did know was her uncle, Uncle Mordecai. And he finds out that there's trouble, that they're going to be wiped out if something isn't done. And it obviously dawns on him, hey, Esther can help. Esther can help if she's willing. Well, she wasn't thinking along those lines. Even though you're out of place, or you're in a situation where you feel like you just don't fit, it doesn't mean you do not try to put the square peg in the round hole. You try to fit. You try to make yourself not stand out of the crowd. You kind of give yourself a little permission to settle in, to get comfortable. She is in a brand new place. She is the queen. And she's got maidservants. She eats well. She dresses well. Probably in the palace there's a fitness gym, so she doesn't have to drive across town and pay $30 a month to go and work out or walk on a treadmill. She's got it all right there for her. She has people looking after her. So that's, even though you fell out of place, you feel like you don't fit, that's a situation where you could get used to not fitting in. You could get used to not feeling at home. Okay, all the